can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walk through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I feel like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders like the founders of P90X, Baby Einstein, Atari, many more, and how they overcome big challenges in life and business. Our sponsor today is Rise25.com, where entrepreneurs of 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses come together live and in person every few months to solve their biggest business challenges and leave with lifelong friendships. Check out Rise25.com. It's run by myself and co-founder John Corcoran. It's application only. I have been waiting for a while. I'm very excited. Today's guest. Today we have Ian Stanley. He's a top direct response marketer. He's written email copy for large 7- and 8-figure companies with email lists topping 1.2 million subscribers. He's the founder of Fixt Water, F-I-X-T, and is on a mission to change people's lives by providing drinkable water no matter the condition. He even has disgusting videos where he's collected water with mud and waste and drinks it after being filtered by a Fixt Water pitcher. Ian, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited. I know I'm doing the right thing when I say dorm toilet and somebody goes, oh, that's
cringeworthy. Yeah.
It's dramatic demonstration. It's not, limp, flaccid demonstration. and so, that demo though was really strong. And then basically took the shower head and filled a glass of water from each, and then put the drops in, and you can see it turn yellow. Yeah. From the chlorine, and then you can see the other one not, and it's just pretty undeniable proof, and it's not boring, and it's something people actually genuinely don't think about. This is the one thing where whenever I talk to people about the shower head in public, and I would I try not to, I'm not shoving drinking clean water down people's throats, no pun intended, right. But but the shower head stuff, I'm like, yeah, that's, and they're like, what? That's crazy. Yeah. Where do I get one? Where do I get? And so for me, actually, in the transition, I didn't have a filter for a little bit, and I hate it now. I'll literally take a 2-minute cold shower is the only thing I'll do. But when I would travel, I would forget sometimes, and I'd wash my hair with hot water again. Right. 15 minutes later, it's itching. So it's that's sort of
remind me, Ian. I have a really good introduction for you of someone with a completely different product, but very similar as far as the audience goes. So I'm writing that down.
Awesome.
Yeah, this is actually really perfect. When you said the shower head, I'm like, why would I want to filter my shower head? I mean, that's immediately what I thought of. Who cares if it's hitting me if I'm not drinking it?
Yeah, and that's what's so interesting with that one is, you can take a problem that people are already very aware of and then just show them that it can be solved. And there are some things that people don't know, and then suddenly they know, and they're like, oh crap. Yeah. It's the shower head one's fascinating. I had no idea, right, until I did the research, and then suddenly it's one of those things where, and the reason I like it a lot for selling as well is there's an immediate benefit. Within 3 or 4 days, a lot of people actually get this result. With drinking clean water, if you start drinking a lot more water, you are going to feel better. I'm yet to find somebody who's like, oh, I'm drinking all this water and I just feel lethargic and shitty and I can't stand it. But, removing contaminants is it's peace of mind really. And it's prevention more so than treatment. Yeah. And with the shower head, there's actually an immediate benefit that people can feel. And that makes a big difference in being able to sell it as well as retention. When people are like, if I don't use this filtered shower, I get dry skin or an itchy head. Right.
Before we started, we talked about kind of the emotional mental exercise because you care about this, and it takes longer than we think. So what's taken longer than you've thought so far? Because you've already done it once for the other company. So you expect, okay, in a year, 15 million, right? So what's taken longer than you thought?
Yeah. So I think part of it is when you are part of a team, there are little pieces and little things getting done that you're not super aware of.
Yeah.
And you may be aware of, but you underestimate when you've got 4 people full time. You know, what was interesting about what we did before is we had literally a team of essentially the owner buying traffic, me writing copy, and then we had a developer, like a marketing, like developer type guy. And like, that was our marketing team. And so most people have, you know, multiple copywriters. They've got, you know, different writers, just different, you know, there's like 10, you know, to do what we were doing, you know, you normally like 10 people at least on a team. It was really lean, which keeps it compact. But honestly, dev shit, God, the technical stuff has always driven me mental. But not having a technical background, knowing that I'm not going to do it and learn it because it's a waste of my time. The sort of the main thing, a lot of it's technical, and it's just these intangibles. Like for me, I became so obsessed with money money is equated to speed, and which is actually bullshit. It's pace. Speed is, you know, money's attracted to speed. It's really attracted to pace.
Yeah. What do you mean by that? Yeah.
Like the difference is, speed is just a measure of actual, you know, forward or backward momentum. It's a rate at which you're moving. So pace is the time that you can maintain a velocity for. Mm-hmm. And velocity is important because velocity dictates direction, right? I can go super fast in the wrong direction.
Right.
Doesn't matter.
Right.
But pace, but also how long can I sustain that speed for? If I can't sustain it, then it doesn't really matter. So I'd rather keep a consistent pace, a quick pace, and that typically actually means, you know, within the business world, sprint, rest. But, you know, I've become so obsessed with, if I can't get it done, because I've done VSLs so quickly and I've done everything way faster than, you know, most people do them. I'm like, all right, I can have a VSL up in 2 days. Like, this business is going to be running in 3 weeks. 2.5 months later, you know, you're still patching the pieces together, and then it's finally going, and then your puppy goes to the hospital, and then, you know, and and you have all these intangibles that come up, and you've got 5 other businesses, and you've got all this stuff. But really, a lot of it comes down to technical pieces. And then something like, I never get sick. I've been sick in like 5 years. And of course I get like a scratchy throat and stuff, which could be mental, emotional stuff from like being scared of this project. But it's really just the fact that I'm waking up every 4 hours to feed a dog and probably drinking too much alcohol and not enough sleep. But it's really frustrating because I can't film right now.
Yeah.
I can't film, and I can't redo the voiceovers because my voice sounds like shit, which is ironic because I'm talking about health right now and I probably sound unhealthy. But, you know, that's part of transparency too, right?
What was the longest, like for that 2 months, you said like I get this done 3 weeks and it's 2.5 months. Is the longest, is the delay
so part
the
of it is
technical
like,
piece or what?
I would say, so there's pieces of sorting stuff out the manufacturer, getting those pieces in place. Yeah. Sometimes little things like names, like picking a name, can take time. And we went through iterations of how do we pick the name. And then once we got on Fixt Water, yeah, like, okay, yeah, this is the one. Yeah. But that can take a few days. That can take, you know, a week. Yeah. And because it is important. Like, what's interesting is, having done this before, my goal is to build it slower than we want. Right. It's like, I view it like a relationship. You just meet this beautiful girl. She's fantastic. And you want to move super quick. And you want to spend every day together. And, you know, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But the one thing I do know is no relationship's ever gotten worse because you took it slower. Right? But they have gotten worse because you moved too fast. So building a real infrastructure and having systems and ops in place for this business in advance is really important, because we're treating this like a business that's going to be around for years and years and years, not like an offer or an opportunity that we're just going to run for a bit and make some money from. Yeah. This is something we want to run. So instead of trying to hit $1 million the first month, let's do 100K the first month. Let's double that, and by January, let's be doing $1 million a month, and let's be okay with that. You know, we don't have to come out the gate and absolutely annihilate it. Yeah. But there are just little, like, I mean, we're using ClickFunnels at the moment and it drives me insane and I don't want to use it, but for the sake of speed, can it go? But then you have all these, a lot of it is sort of dev and technical stuff
Yeah.
that just gets frustrating.
What do you use now? Like, so you use ClickFunnels, shopping cart stuff. Is that in
we're
ClickFunnels?
literally using, so that was the other thing. We're like, okay, payment processing. Like I've seen, like if your merchant accounts get messed up, your whole business can get crippled. And it's not a problem until it's a problem, and then it's the only problem.
Right.
And when you're doing 20, 50, 100 grand a day, even having a merchant account down for 2 hours
Right.
can cost you 5 figures.
Yeah.
So in advance, because I've seen all the issues and I've seen all the failure points before,
Yeah.
you have this new perspective of preparing.
Right.
And that does take longer, but maybe it doesn't get broken in the end because of that. So, that's played a role, as well as just, it's honestly, even looking back, I'm like, part of it's just intangible stuff that just like, things just lag. People take longer. There's not always the same sense of urgency for everyone.
Right.
And when you do put pressure on yourself for something like this, because I've made it work before, you go, oh, I've got to crush it out of the gate. I'm going to, you've got this. And I actually care for once. Like business has come relatively easily for me up to this point. So I've never really cared that much. Like I don't get bent out of shape about it. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. Whatever. But this, I'm like, man, we're actually doing something real. We're getting to actually help people.
Right.
And it's a topic I care about. It's my face. It's my company. And I'm responsible for that. And so you start to, build up different resistance points based on, it's the first business that scared me.
Why?
My business partner and I got off a call once. We were both like, did you get a little knot in your stomach from that one? We were both like, yeah.
What was it?
It was, it's a bit of fear. Like this is real. This is a real business. This is going to be, and I say real business, I mean, the other businesses are real businesses, but this is something I care about. It's something that, plan to have in 5 years.
It's a global impact.
It's something where we think we can get to 100 million a year. And so, but the thing is, to get there, you have to get that first sale, which we've done now. But sort of slowly building up that scale and just focusing on sort of these little pieces. What scares me, I hate thinking small. I have this board of all the big ideas, all the fun stuff, but none of that gets done. Like I don't get to do any of that until the one little thing is working.
Right.
So, and then there are little things like, oh, we're supposed to have traffic running from a media buyer last Thursday. And now because we can't put a flippin' tracking pixel on the checkout page in ClickFunnels, we're now 5 days down the road and we still haven't run it. And that's 5 days of testing time that could dramatically change the timeline of what we're doing. Part of it, though, is also just being okay with it.
Yeah.
I want to know now. I want to solve this shit. I want to, get this all, churning. But sometimes you just got to relax and realize that life happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of those little things, like you said, and some of those failure points, like the processor or whatever it is. What do you decide to use for that? Does ClickFunnels have a solution for a processor, or do you have to go to a separate company?
We're using Stripe right now, and then we're getting bids for other merchant accounts.
Yeah.
But, Stripe can just hold on to your money, and then we're going to use another. We were originally supposed to, that actually one of the biggest holdups was we were essentially originally supposed to go through a very large digital marketplace that you, I mean, I don't know, I just won't say it, I guess, but that you would absolutely know of.
Right.
And they came to us and they really want the offer because it's a legit product. They want to sell a high quality physical product.
Right.
But what they came back from the VSL, like the amount of legal insanity that they broke down was like, I'm not going to do that, at least not right now. So that went from, that was what we were waiting on. And that was just 2 or 3 weeks of just waiting.
Right.
And then you get that back and it's like, okay, now we have to, that's out of the question for now.
Yeah.
So, it's stuff like that where that's 3 weeks just sort of wasted.
So I interviewed the founder of Easy Pay Direct. I don't know if that's something you looked at.
I know Brad's one of my close friends.
Okay.
I had him the other night. We actually filmed for his company here at this table I'm sitting at. So I know Brad.
He had some good thoughts on that, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
that's why working with him is the experience we had with merchant accounts before is why I'm aware of it in advance, because people don't think like, okay, we want to process 1 million in January. You've got to warm up your mids. You've got to get 100,000 through this through this mid, through this one, through this one. And when you're starting out, and even people who are quite experienced, if you've never had a merchant account issue, you're not thinking about it.
Right.
You're just, hey, we're on the internet. We can just collect money. Not necessarily. You can do all the selling in the world. You can be the best salesperson ever. But if you can't collect the actual money, it doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah.
And if you wait for the problem to happen, again,
a lot of moving pieces. So, I want to go back. I'm sure when you were growing up, you weren't like, I want to sell water pitchers and filters one day. So where did you grow up, and when you were young, what did you want to do?
I grew up partially in England and partially in California, which we probably should have said at the beginning, because people are going to be sitting here just wondering what my accent is the whole time. Basically means I sound Australian. And I played tennis in college, and
you did?
My dad, told people I was going to win Wimbledon from age 5.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so I I played tennis from 3 years old till I try not to play much anymore. But my mum and dad are actually #1 in the world for their age.
Wow.
Right now, and so
right now.
They occasionally, so occasionally they'll pull me out to play like father-son. My dad and I.
That's crazy.
I don't normally tell people I play tennis, but yeah, my dad and I played a national. We were #2 in the nation actually.
Wow.
Now, and I never play anymore. But I was an athlete basically. I played sports. And then
do you have video? Are there videos of you playing anywhere?
I don't know. Probably.
I want to put this on the page when we post.
I wonder if there are any videos.
Does your dad have any?
It's filming tennis matches. I'm sure there are videos that I have some on my phone. I'm sure from back when I was playing. So I basically played sports, and then actually, weirdly enough, I've heard something that basically what you were doing when you were like 10 is what you should do when you're older.
Really?
And I think it's a broad statement, I feel like, because it's like, oh, you're an accountant. We really going to be doing them? But then you hear those weird stories of kids who are like doing their parents' taxes at 10.
That was not me.
But I did some acting stuff just like at school. And then I did, I was never like a theater kid or anything, but I did some plays and stuff. And then I would make videos with my friends. And then I just stopped for a long period of time. Right. And so ironically, kind of come back to just making funny videos. Because to me, that's just still about the most fun thing I can do. Because even if nobody laughs or if nobody likes them, in the moment that I'm filming,
right,
I typically have the most fun I could possibly have. And we die of laughter. So I did that. So in college...
Do you play tennis in college?
Yeah, I played in college.
Okay.
And so that's what I basically went to school for, was to go tennis. And then I hated it my whole life. I've still hated it.
Why?
I hated it. It was never my thing.
Was it a job? Like,
it's a job.
You felt like a job?
A job.
Was it like that from the beginning, or just as you trained more and more, it's like became a job?
3 years old, that much pressure, and I was also a psychopath on the tennis court.
What do you mean?
Off the court, on the court, I made John McEnroe look like a Teletubby. I've thrown rackets over fences, punched walls, cussed out refs. I had letters sent from the USTA. I was a nightmare. If I kept calm, I would basically win. But I was a nutcase. Everybody in mad they could win.
Oh, God.
It's funny because off the court, I'd never get angry. It brings out all the darkest parts of my soul.
Interesting. That's a good tweetable. I made John McEnroe look like a Teletubby. I like that.
It's pretty accurate. But then in college, I was actually going to join the military. That was all I cared about.
Really?
I was going to the Special Forces and then going to Delta, and that was like all I thought about. I slept.
Why military?
About everything. I wanted to save lives. It started out for me that I wanted the training. I got basically, and I'm going to have to go here in a minute, unfortunately, but I got mugged when I was 15 at knife point in England, and and I didn't think it was that big a deal at the time, but those 2 minutes basically changed everything from there on. I didn't notice it till I was about 19 that I realized that was such a big moment. But that's when I started doing martial arts, learning self-defense, and got big into violence training and stuff like that. But I realized that those 2 minutes basically, when you're getting mugged at that age, especially when you're still forming your identity, what that person basically is doing is making you a slave. For those moments, you're a slave. You have no control over anything, and basically became obsessed with the idea that I would never be that person again who would be a victim. And a lot of people have traumatic experiences and then they become a victim. Chose not to, whether it was consciously or not. So I wanted the training to be able to kill anyone, basically, so that I could protect myself.
Yeah.
Because there's no worse feeling I've ever had in my life. I hope to never have that bad a feeling ever again. Nobody should ever have to feel that. So after experiencing it, you become obsessed with not being that type of person.
Yeah.
So then the military was the logical sort of, I wanted all the training for special forces stuff. And then I liked the mission of the Green Berets, which was basically going in and training the people to be able to fight their own wars and learning languages and shit. And so that was my plan. And then I ended up basically not being able to join. I got medically disqualified and couldn't go in. And so I had to reevaluate my entire life. And so that's why the water thing, I think, is a big deal to me, is I saw myself as somebody who had a predisposition to being able to deal with violence, and that was how I was going to save people's lives.
Yeah.
And now, ironically, with the water stuff, I think I have the capacity to save a lot more lives. So I think that scares me a bit. Yeah. It's much more fear of the light than fear of the dark. The realization of your true potential is typically the scariest thing.
Yeah.
To deal with.
Ian, unbelievable. There's rarely a time I actually lose track of the time and don't stay to the time. So I apologize.
10 minutes ago, so for me to stay on through that.
But thank you. This has been remarkable. I can go on and on about, because it's just amazing stories. So, but we'll leave people with that, and everyone should check out fixedwater.com, FIXT water.com. Final words, Ian. What should we leave people with?
Filter your water.
Filter your water, yeah.
I mean, if any of the sort of just more fun stuff, me messing around, making stupid videos, you can. Yeah.
Where should we point people towards for that?
I mean, I post on just on my personal Facebook page, Ian Stanley, and then I have a page, Stand Up Conversions. If you so choose, people seem to get a kick out of those videos. So
there's another one, like an 80/20.
I have 80/20 email copy.
Yeah.
Either standupconversions.com or 80/20email.com is where I teach marketing and teach sort of email copy and VSL writing and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you haven't gotten your sense of humor by now, the headline, I think, is How to Become Superhuman and Kick Being Average Square in the Nuts Using These Little Known Life Hacks.
Oh, is that what's on there? I think that's the old 80/20 life hack. That's where I used to just write total bullshit. Like I would write an email every day about whatever I was thinking. But that's, how to kick average in the nuts.
Right. Ian, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Absolute pleasure.
Sorry for my voice.
You're awesome.
Cool. Cheers, mate. Talk to you soon.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the